Hey guys, it's Awesomeness. I'm back again with a rapid fire video. And as you can see, I'm trying out a little bit different of a camera angle today. I've got this little car vent clip thing, but on the vent, it's kind of low, and you gotta get my hang down mirror thing and part of the steering wheel in the shot. So I decided to try somewhere else. So I've got this thing hung up on my little flip down visor. It's got a little bar I can stick it on, and this looks fine to me, I guess. Rapid fire videos, I just put one out. I recorded it Thursday and put it out yesterday on Friday. So today's Saturday, and I'll probably maybe get it uploaded today or not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I wasn't planning on recording a video today. I didn't have like a topic in mind until this morning. And it sparked, yes, there is a topic in mind that I have proclaimed to my family many a times over the last many years, that I didn't think about doing a video about until today, I guess. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's a ranty thing I could talk about that I'm passionate about, I guess. Let's do it. So, it's currently October, and that means it's football season. Today's Saturday. It's college football, and half the time I like watching the college teams play more than the professional teams. But I digress. The topic I wanted to talk about today, and I'm going to title the video very strikingly so it catches people's attention. Football has a lot of rules. I'm a football fan, if you couldn't tell. Football has a lot of rules. A lot of them make sense, They add some, subtract some every year. For college and, college and professional. But this is a topic that was sparked this morning. I watched a highlight video of, I think Rutgers played Nebraska, I think. And there was a play that happened where, it's football. Football is a violent sport, but a running back came around the outside and was kind of looking like he was going to run out of bounds. And I don't know if it was a linebacker or it might have been a safety even, corner or whatever, was coming up and was going to tackle him, but he was looking like he was coming out of bounds. But instead of going out of bounds, the running back just absolutely destroyed him and then went out of bounds. Just trucked right through him, absolutely flatlined him. And that's football. That's what happens. But it got me thinking, because I watched the play, and you watch the replays and everything, and and it brought me back to immediately, and that's why I want to talk about this today. My single most hated rule in football, and that is targeting. And it's a college thing only, but it kind of extends in the NFL, so I'll include it too, because targeting isn't a thing in the NFL. It's not a rule, but they, on a similar line, have gotten way more, what's the word I'm looking for? Way more aggressive when it comes to calling defensive players hitting offensive players. So, basic explanation of what targeting is, even if I can even understand it, because that's one of my... I'll get to that gripe. It's... How it's written, as far as I understand, is a defensive player, launching with the crown of his helmet towards the head or neck area of an opponent and hitting him, obviously. Which, what they tell you is that it's meant to protect the safety of both the offensive and the defensive player. Which, on its face is fine, but I've got problems with that aspect too, and I'll explain why here in a minute. But back to the play that I witnessed. I believe it was a Nebraska running back hit a Rutgers safety. And here's the first reason why I hate the targeting rule. It's never, ever, ever, ever enforced fairly for both sides. And they act like they do, but it's not. And it's not even just, the officiating part of it. It's how people react to it, too. This Nebraska running back, now he's just playing football. I'm not saying he's like a bad person or anything. Like, football's violent, and I prefer, more, rough stuff in football games. I feel like, they've really toned down the physicality of football in, recent years. But, so it's not a drag on any of the players involved in whatever it is, but just the rule is dumb. This Nebraska player is running down the sideline acting like he's going to go out of bounds. Like he's kind of making that his way there, and the safety is coming at him, and the safety kind of lets up because he's like, I don't want to get a late hit call out of bounds. I don't want to get a targeting call accidentally if this guy lowers his head into me. Because that's one thing that has never made any sense to me. A defensive player can only do so much. There is such a thing as incidental helmet contact. I mean, they're wearing big helmets that are twice the size of their heads. So, honestly, I got to remember to look at the actual camera and not the screen. So, if I'm all over the place, I'm not freaking out with my eyes going everywhere. So, the difference between like defense and offensive players is it's called completely backwards to me. Like, the defensive player doesn't want to hit him because if he hits him out of bounds, that's a flag. If the offensive player, braces for it and puts his head down and their helmets even touch slightly, that's targeting on the defense. But what this safety did is he just kind of backed off. I was like, okay, go out of bounds if you want to. So he kind of stands, mostly straight up. And then this Nebraska running back comes in and just lowers his helmet. No joke, literally, like, covers the ball, puts his head down like you're supposed to. It's football. And nails him with the top of his helmet right in the jaw underneath, right in this side of the face mask. And knocks him out cold, like dead, flatlined, on the ground. Like, thankfully the dude's okay. Like, he got up and he walked to the back. He might have a concussion, I don't know. But this Rutgers player just destroyed, or this Nebraska player just destroyed this poor Rutgers safety. But I was sitting there looking at it, and I was like, if the roles were reversed, if that Rutgers player had hit the Nebraska running back in the exact same way, a targeting 100%, flagged immediately, gone, ejected. But the offensive players get free reign on that. They can lower their head as much as they want. And they know even that they can lower their head as much as they want too, because like I just said, if the offensive player braces for a hit and lowers his head down to the same level that the defensive player is coming from, they'll call targeting on the defensive player 100% of the time. Every time. Does not matter the context. Every time. And he's gone. Ejected. It only takes one targeting and it's ejected. That's another problem I got with it. So, that's the play that kind of sparked it. And I've had this issue with the targeting rule in football for a long time. Forever. And that's the first reason why. It's just because it's never enforced fairly. There's no room for any judgment, because it is a judgment call mostly. Like, they try to write it out correctly, but it's never enforced in that way. Some guys can get their heads completely taken off by a guy who's literally trying to injure them, and that's fine apparently. But a guy accidentally, hits a guy in the head if he was like tripped just before they, made contact, or the offensive player was lowering his head for a truck and they just so happened to collide that way. Doesn't matter. No context. Ejected. Gone. That's the second reason why I hate targeting. There's no room for any common sense. It's just, oh, you hit some guy in the head and we called targeting? Well, see ya. Why are we throwing kids out of football games for accidents? Like, there's got to be some common sense. Like, you can tell when someone's trying to headhunt, and you can tell, when, it's just football, because defenders still got to defend. That's what they got to do. Their job is to make tackles. Sometimes it's violent. Sometimes it's, in areas where the league would not want them to be. I don't think we should be throwing out players immediately without actually taking it into consideration. And I think, I would say 90% of targeting calls where guys get ejected are completely accidental. Maybe reckless, but not intentionally trying to hurt someone. And I just don't agree with tossing someone out immediately for things that, sometimes they just can't control. And here's the other thing that grinds my gears about targeting. It's the fan reaction to it. Look at this video where this offensive player basically commits textbook targeting on a safety and runs him over and knocks him out cold, and everyone's like, oh, that's the game, that's football. But I guarantee you, if you go on any other video where a defender does the same thing to an offensive player, it's, oh yeah, that's textbook targeting, totally should be ejected, that's part of the rules. What? I don't get it. I don't get why there's so much scrutiny on defensive players and not offensive players. They wear the same pads. They wear the same helmets. They can hit people just the same. Now, they're not tackling people, but they can deal good amounts of damage right back. Some of the best running backs in the league are known for that. Either league, but in the NFL, guys would make their names off running people over, and being physical running backs or physical wide receivers. But when the rules are reversed, nowadays anyway, it didn't used to be this way, but nowadays, if you're a physical linebacker, if you're a physical safety, you're a dirty player. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, targeting, it's dumb. It's hurting the sport. That's part 2. Why I think targeting hurts the sport. Now you know my major gripes behind the targeting calls. Here's why I think it hurts the sports. And this goes for both. For college, for targeting, when they eject people, I just explained that. The early ejections, I think, are totally unnecessary. Totally unwarranted. I mean, these are college kids. I'm a college kid. They're just playing the game that they love to play. And, I can understand if it's pretty obvious that a guy just, destroyed some guy way far away from the ball, or, or multiple times has really, gone high and hit someone right in the teeth, That I can understand, being an ejectable offense if they're just, they seem to be getting out of control. But like I said, bang, bang play, defender's trying to do his job. Sometimes things happen, Here's why I think it hurts the league. This is where I'm going to more of the NFL side of things. Because they don't have targeting, but they really go nuts just the same on the whole hitting rules thing. Like college, the hitting rules make no sense. It's the same thing. Guys are not supposed to hit people in the head or neck area, but offensive players can do it all they want. And there's no balance between whether the offensive player was also going low, because there's only so low a defender can go, especially in a split second, like when tackles are made. One of the worst ones, in my opinion, that's really hurt the game, when it comes to the NFL side of things, is the whole defenseless player situation, because they don't want wide receivers getting their heads taken off when they're coming across the middle on a hospital pass, which the quarterback shouldn't have thrown anyway. For me, in the game of football, I don't necessarily think that there is such a thing as a defenseless player who has the ball in his hands. You know what I'm saying? I get the idea because, yes, in a literal sense, a wide receiver going up high to catch a pass is pretty defenseless. But I don't think that's necessarily illegal to hit him at that point. He's got the ball in his hands. He could be catching a touchdown or getting the crucial first down. If you hit that guy, he can drop it. If you hit him hard enough and he keeps it, they might not want to throw over there anymore. You know? So I don't understand the whole defenseless player thing. It doesn't matter where they hit him most of the time. Like 90% of the time, even if they don't even hit him in the head, they still call it on a defenseless player. Which, again, a defenseless player is someone not involved in the play. Like a kicker running down the field, like 20 yards behind everybody getting destroyed for no reason, you know. A quarterback standing in the pocket who's thrown a pass 3 seconds ago and gets nailed in the chops. That's a defenseless player, you know. Not a wide receiver catching a touchdown pass in the end zone to win the game. That's not, you know, you can't penalize defenses for trying to win. You know, it makes no sense to me. And you know why they do that. Here's why they do it. You know, people will argue like, oh, we just don't want concussions in the game. Well, that sure worked. We're still getting concussions left and right. It's been a part of the game for forever. No matter what they do, there's still plenty of concussions regardless of whether dudes are doing backflips, getting hit off a, you know, pass across the middle. But they say it's for safety. Which, you know, on its surface, sure, yeah, I agree with that. You know, we want to keep our players safe. They get paid, you know, millions to play a dangerous game. But we don't like seeing people get hurt, you know. Especially seriously injured and whatever, which I get. But to me, I don't think the whole hitting rules thing that they've changed, I don't know. I think you're pretty idiotic if you believe that the NFL changed all those rules and stuff for player safety. Like, no, they just didn't want to get sued for concussions anymore. They wanted an out saying like, oh, we've changed all these rules. You know, we can only do so much. They just didn't want to lose the money. The NFL is the biggest sporting product in the United States, at least. You know, probably might be second in the world to maybe soccer. Maybe second to soccer. It could be third because I feel like maybe there are other like world sports that are, you know, watched a lot. I think cricket's pretty popular in other parts of the world, but I'm from the U.S. and we watch American football. Some eyes seem really red. I'm tired today, so, you know, I'm at work. I'll try to wrap this up pretty quickly because, you know, getting long and things. I don't think it's for player safety. They just don't want to get sued anymore and lose any more money or sponsorships or whatever. They just wanted the out. And part two of that is the hitting rules that have completely, you know, handicapped defense. Defensive players are absolutely kneecapped in the way they play the game anymore because there's so many things they just can't do that just allow the offense to run wild half the time. And the NFL wants that. They want those you know, high scoring, lots of passing football games. And teams aren't going to want to do that, you know, like how it was in the 90s and the early 2000s as much. Even, you know, in the 80s especially. The 80s were bad for this. Where guys would just get absolutely cleaned out over the middle. Just obliterated trying to catch a pass. Because safeties were allowed to do that. And I think they still should be, you know, within reason. Like back then, you know, I honestly believe that like a lot of those 80s safeties and corners were just trying to kill people. But within reason, you know, the rules are kneecapping defenses for reasons. Because the NFL wants those types of high scoring, high intensity, crazy offense games. Because everybody likes offense. I like defense. I like the big guys, you know, laying big hits and you know, ruining the offense's day. But the NFL doesn't want that because they know the money is in, those crazy high-scoring, close games where there's no defense whatsoever because everybody gets super hyped about crazy quarterback plays and wide receiver catches that are, death-defying. But, that's why I think the hitting rules are dumb in both college and the NFL. The college reasons for targeting and, making no sense and not being, enforced equally. In the NFL, because it's pretty obvious to me that it's not a player safety thing. They just like handicapping defenses as much as possible to get high-scoring games. That's my view on it from a fan's perspective, from the outside looking in. I played football for like a year and didn't do it. I was a soccer player. But I like the sport. I feel like I know some things about it. That's my rant for today. We got voltage again today, so nothing the same as the last video. Post comments below if you agree, disagree, whatever. I don't care. It's just the thing I wanted to talk about today. We'll see if I want to do anything else with this channel. I might make a short video soon, like a new like, here's what my channel is video, because I've made 2 of those already, and that's not what this is anymore. So, anyway, see you in the next one. Catch you later.